time for the trans community. Snapchat's gender swapping filter is complicated. While many acknowledge that the filter is fun, for some it's been jarring to see their social networks manipulating their gender so casually. Others have said that they are concerned that some people are using the filter in problematic ways. Kyle Keegan, assistant professor of women, gender, and sexuality studies and liberal studies at Grand Valley State University and a trans man, says that he wasn't particularly excited to see that feature. Playing with gender has always been a major part of trans culture and representation, Keegan said. Trans people have appeared for a long time in circuses, drag shows, and in Hollywood. These shows are fetishistic, but they can give trans people some control over how they're represented, he says. This also isn't the first time that the internet has helped people see what they look like as another gender, said Keegan. Older apps such as FaceApp have allowed people to change their appearance of their gender. Keegan said that he was not only troubled by the videos that played the idea of trapping. When a person is wooed by a person of one gender who turns out to be another gender. If trans people are accused of trapping, it can be deadly, said Keegan. It's a privilege to be able to play with being a different gender. Very interesting piece. Yeah. There's a lot more if you want to read more, but that's just interesting because that's kind of that. I don't consider myself a sensitive person, but that's the first thing I thought of when I started seeing that filter pop up.
Yeah. Well, I noticed people posting, and it was definitely kind of strange.
Very insensitive, I think.
Yeah, because they are so casual about it. Like, this is a big deal for some people that they're struggling with their identity.
Exactly. It's not. But again.
Yeah. And then, something else the article pointed out was how the app turns users into extreme simplifications with cartoonish representations. That men have broad chins and facial hair, women are posed in soft lighting and have delicate features. Oh. And so, it just oversimplifies the stereotypes of what men and women are. I feel like it's more body issues, too, for both sides.
Get away from this augmented crap.
Yeah.
From these photos, from Instagram. Instagram should have no filters. It should be raw, straight up, real pictures only.
Yeah.
You have to take the app through the Instagram camera, and the Instagram camera you can't do it. You can't edit the photo, nothing. It's just straight up, here's the picture. Bing. That's it. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Get rid of all these problems.
Because I was playing with it, and it did just oversimplify and do my hair really weird as a girl. And
is that machine learning?
Probably. But then I did notice that some people did like it because they could see themselves as the opposite gender.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But again, it's a very, like you said, very simplified and very.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. We love to hear more from you.
Yeah.
Feedback is always needed.
Yeah. Ask at healthytalkshow.com. 509-878-3229. That's our phone number. healthytalkshow.com/Discord if you want to join our Discord. We still don't know how to use Discord, so if someone wants to come in and show us how to use it, we'd love that. CNBC, why glasses are so expensive.
According to a 2019 IBIS World Report, the top 4 companies operating in the U.S. account for over 60% of industry revenue, following a decade of mergers and acquisitions. The biggest of them, Luxottica, has 40%. The Italian company is the largest maker of eyewear in the world. In the U.S., it captures huge shares of both the prescription eyeglasses and sunglasses retail market, owns several major retail...
Look at that.
Yeah, that's everything, isn't it?
Yeah, they own everything outside of Costco and Walmart, I think.
Has exclusive manufacturing and licensing deals with tons of designer labels, and owns iMed, one of the largest vision insurance providers. A Luxottica spokesperson told CNBC that the glasses industry is very diverse, including several discount retailers like Walmart and Costco. This is true. The same IBIS World Report noted that the vast majority of consumers prefer value eyewear from such stores.
Prefer?
Or that's the only one you can afford.
Yeah, that's the only one you can afford. There's not really... I just prefer whatever is most affordable. But okay.
Still, with such large market shares and diverse holdings, it's worth examining this one company's power. And in 2017, Luxottica announced it would get even bigger by merging with Essilor, a French lenses manufacturer. The $49 billion deal further consolidated the eyewear industry, leading some to ask, will this help consumers or hurt them?
I think we know the answer to that question. I cut a lot out of this video because it's just...
Yeah. I mean, no competition.
yeah.
What's the incentive to lower prices?
Exactly. CNBC, brief history of Luxottica.
Leonardo Del Vecchio founded Luxottica in Italy in 1961. The name is a combination of the Italian words for light and optics, and the company manufactured components and accessories for the optical industry. But Del Vecchio soon transformed the company from supplier to manufacturer. In 1971, Luxottica debuted its first house-made glasses line. This turned out to be a prescient move. Starting in the 1980s, glasses slowly transformed from a necessary medical device to a fashion statement for the face.
That's Demi Moore and Bruce Willis, just FYI, Marissa.
Oh, yeah.
And
I
that
didn't
other person was
recognize her.
Michael Caine, the old guy with the glasses, with the big black glasses. That
I
was
think
Michael
I
Caine.
recognize him.
Okay.
Luxottica both drove and capitalized off this trend by partnering with designer brands to make lines of glasses and sunglasses. Under these licenses, the fashion houses send inspiration to Luxottica, which designs and manufactures the frames. The company first partnered with Giorgio Armani in 1988.
Ooh.
30 years later, its roster of partnerships sounds like a fashion week unto itself. Prada, Chanel, Burberry, Michael Kors, Ralph Lauren, Tiffany, Versace, Bulgari, and on and on. Luxottica also purchased
Holy moly. So
Yeah.
they have all the expensive brands.
And those are expensive frames.
Yeah, they have all the expensive ones.
Yeah.
several brands outright, like Vogue Eyewear, Ray-Ban, and Oakley.
They own
And
them outright.
They
Dang.
moved into retailing, buying LensCrafters, Sunglass Hut, and Cole National, which is the parent company of Target Optical, Sears Optical, and Pearl Vision.
Wow.
In total, Luxottica has about 9,000 stores worldwide. And that's not all. Their vision insurance company, iMed, has a network of 28,000 eye health professionals and covers 39 million people. And that's still not all. We're focusing on the US, but Luxottica has a major presence in the UK, New Zealand, Australia, Latin America, and of course, its native Italy, as well as manufacturing facilities in the US, Italy, China, Brazil, and 2 small plants in Japan and India. In 2018, Luxottica had net sales of just under 9 billion euros. That's about 10 billion US dollars, and an increase of 22% since
Wow.
2013.
They're doing really well.
You know, I didn't realize till recently that it was basically a monopoly on these glasses companies.
Yeah, outside of Costco and Walmart, it seems like.
Yeah.
A few competitors are doing well.
Some competitors have managed to succeed. Zenni Optical, an online-only glasses retailer, began in 2003 and sells glasses for as little as $6.95, lenses included.
Yeah.
Not prescription lenses. Let's get that straight.
Yeah.
This report, that's a little misleading. Prescription lenses raises it to about the price of Costco,
Yeah.
which if you're going to buy the glasses, might as well just go to Costco then. Yes. So if you have non-prescription lenses, you're good.
Another company, Warby Parker, began selling glasses starting at $95 in 2010. Warby Parker even uses technology that allows consumers to do their own eye exam using a computer and a phone app. The company says these prescriptions are reviewed by an eye doctor within a day, removing an actual eye checkup as a barrier to getting glasses. But some optometrists worry that this method oversimplifies prescriptions and puts consumers at risk of getting a faulty product.
And it goes into
Yeah.
how it's not really an eye exam. And even the video on the app says it's not an eye exam. I just think it's
Yeah.
interesting that Warby is thinking outside the box on that.
Yeah. It's pretty cool, but I do understand the concern
Yeah.
since.
Oh, yeah. And they had an optometrist on there saying, oh, you can diagnose certain cancers through eye exams sometimes.
Yeah.
Rarely, but it's possible. You can diagnose a lot of different things you
Yeah.
wouldn't think that's possible.
Plus, you want to watch your eye pressure too.
I don't even know what that is.
You haven't been to an eye doctor and they
I have great eyes.
poof your eyes and check your eye.
Mm-mm.
Lucky.
No. No eye doctor for me. Anything else on expensive glasses? It's a monopoly. Costco and Walmart seem to be the only ones that are out of it. I would recommend Costco. We
Yeah.
just got you fabulous. You're actually wearing a pair of Costco glasses
I
right
am.
now.
But you know what's interesting is I can't use my insurance to buy Costco glasses.
Yeah, because it's too expensive.
What?
Because buying Costco glasses is cheaper than buying
Yeah.
glasses through your insurance.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what's really jacked up
Yeah.
because of how expensive everything is.
Mm-hmm. Gotta love Costco.
Yeah.
Democracy now, as EPA insists weed killer Roundup is safe, a jury orders Monsanto to pay $2 billion to a couple with cancer.
A jury has ordered Monsanto, which is owned by German pharmaceutical giant Bayer, to pay more than $2 billion in punitive damages to Alva and Alberta Piliad, a couple who were both diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer after using Roundup on their properties for over 30 years. The main ingredient in the herbicide is glyphosate and is said to cause the cancer. This is plaintiff Alberta Piliad.
We've been fighting cancer for 9 years now, longer than me, and it was caused by Roundup.
Following up, EPA insisted safe.
Earlier this month, the EPA said glyphosate is not carcinogenic. However, other scientific studies and the World Health Organization have found human exposure can in fact lead to cancer.
What do you think? We reported on that too, the EPA saying that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to remind people that the EPA says it's not, glyphosate's okay.
Which is weird because, like they mentioned, there have been many studies.
Yeah, which is...
Yeah. And they also mentioned, well, you know, obviously the evidence must be convincing to the jury. So even though they keep insisting that it's not.
Well, let's get into it. Amy Goodman interviews the attorney on the case, and he opens up some interesting things.
Bayer, quote, Bayer is disappointed with the jury's decision and will appeal the verdict in this case, which conflicts directly with the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's interim registration review decision released just last month. The consensus among leading health regulators worldwide that glyphosate-based products can be used safely and that glyphosate is not carcinogenic, and the 40 years of extensive scientific research on which their favorable conclusions are based. Brent Wisner, your response to what Bayer has said?
Well, it's the
And he's the attorney on the case.
same response that it's the same thing they said to the jury. It's the same thing they've been saying for the last 3 years. And it's just simply nonsense. The simple fact is that the EPA has got it wrong on glyphosate. We have study after study after study showing that it, in fact, does cause a specific type of cancer called lymphoma. And we see it happening in thousands and thousands of people across the country. You know, currently, this administration and this EPA will not take action against Monsanto. We've seen the internal documents, the text messages, the emails between senior EPA officials and Monsanto employees. And the simple fact is,
More on that later.
Oh.
is they know that this EPA will not take adverse action against them. It is a travesty that this truth about it causing cancer and this awareness that we're trying to raise has to be done in the context of litigation. We only exist, these lawsuits only exist because the EPA has failed the American public for 45 years, and Monsanto is allowed to get away with reckless conduct with essentially impunity.
Oh, yeah.
Back to those Monsanto emails he was talking about.
During the trial, numerous internal Monsanto documents and emails came to light, including the July 2018 email from an analyst from the corporate intelligence firm Hackloot. The email read, quote, a domestic policy advisor at the White House said, for instance, we have Monsanto's back on pesticides regulation. We're prepared to go toe-to-toe on any disputes they may have with, for example, the EU. Monsanto need not fear any additional regulation from this administration.
What?
After this email became public, the Center for Biological Diversity asked the Trump administration for public records to assess the pesticide industry's influence on the EPA's proposal to reapprove glyphosate. Can you talk more about this, Brent Wisner?
Well, it's really interesting. In the middle of trial, after we had rested our case in chief, but before closing arguments, out of nowhere, the EPA issues an interim analysis. It was written by an individual, Billy Mitchell, who doesn't have any higher or specialized education or training. And if you read the document, it literally reads like the opening statement for Monsanto during our trial. Monsanto wants a report, EPA brings it. And that just shows you just that the level of capture of this agency that essentially does not work for the American public, but works for industry. These documents from these corporate intelligence agencies, they just show us just how deep it runs. And it's not just, a political thing, but it's actually in the staffers themselves. The fact that the White House is telling Monsanto, we have your back, I mean, it just tells us that we're going to have to keep fighting this fight and that we are not going to get any support or help from the public agencies that, ironically, are supposed to be protecting the public health.
Really interesting.
Yeah.
Monsanto is incredibly powerful. Most people don't realize how powerful Monsanto actually is. 97% of our food is Monsanto controlled or some crazy number.
Crazy.
Monsanto controls the food, our food, everything that's grown. It's crazy. Look into them. And they're being sued for giving people cancer.
Well, it's just disturbing that our government seems to be protecting them more than the people.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure it has something to do with the food supply. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Democracy Now! Last clip. What happens to Roundup?
And what happens to Roundup? We have 20 seconds.
Hopefully we get a warning. We want people to know and have a choice when they use the product. Hey, does it cause cancer? They have a right to know.
Should it be removed from the market?
That's a difficult question. People still smoke cigarettes. We know they cause cancer. At the end of the day, this is America. People have a right to make a choice. Whether it gets removed or not, that's a different question. They deserve at least to know that it causes cancer.
Yeah. What do you think? AskHealthyTalkShow.com. Let us know. Glyphosate, Roundup, Monsanto. What do you know? What do you want to know? A lot of interesting things. Anything else on that one, Marissa?
I would just say, hey, at least we have our checks and balances. So the court system is trying to fight back on this one.
Yeah, and we have public records and stuff. So
yeah, so we'll keep an eye on it. I'm sure there'll be more.
Anything Monsanto piques my interest every time I see that name cross my screen. Washington Post. PG&E power lines to blame for California's deadliest wildfire ever, officials say.
Now, 6 months after the Camp Fire incinerated much of this community, investigators have formally determined the cause. State fire officials on Wednesday said electrical transmission lines owned and operated by PG&E were to blame for the blaze. It started about 10 miles northeast of Paradise last November, but it's still not the full answer. Wednesday's statement stopped short of saying whether the San Francisco-based company was at fault for lapses in maintenance, or how exactly the lines triggered the greatest loss of life from a single wildfire in the state's history. The fire raced through this town with little warning. Nearly 19,000 homes and structures were destroyed. 85 people lost their lives. A CAL FIRE spokesman said the investigation into how the equipment failed and whether there was criminal liability is still open.
Ooh. Very interesting.
Dang. That was a bad fire.
Yeah.
Being a California resident, I remember.
So I didn't catch in that clip, but they didn't mention that company filed for bankruptcy, did they?
Yep. Carrying on.
PG&E says it hasn't been able to review the report, but it does accept its findings on the origins of the fire. The utility company filed for bankruptcy in January. It remains under criminal probation for a deadly pipeline explosion in 2010. And it's a defendant in a number of private civil cases stemming from other wildfires. It's previously cited potential civil liabilities in excess of $30 billion.
Holy crap.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty cute how they filed for bankruptcy and because they were anticipating billions of dollars in liability claims.
Yeah.
So they knew.
They knew they were going down.
Yeah.
What's up? Bye.
That's kind of messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, of course they mentioned that they were responsible for that Tubbs fire as well. So
or at least it's
well,
we're gonna find out more on that because I remember when the fire was happening, everyone was blaming climate change.
Yeah, well, you can always blame it for making it drier, but it's still the electric faulty transmission lines.
Climate change did not ignite it. It did not ignite it.
That's true.
Thank you so much for watching. For more Healthy Talk Show, please consider subscribing to our podcast over at healthytalkshow.com/subscribe. It's free. Twitter and Instagram at Healthy Talk Show, drop the W. We record the podcast live Mondays at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time over at healthytalkshow.com/live. Love and light.